You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 253. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, we're talking about why some coaches earn 10 times more than others. I'm going to break it all down and share with you some of the biggest secrets in growing a very lucrative coaching business. We're going to talk about money. Now, if you've been listening to some of our recent episodes, you'll know that we're celebrating. It's the summer of coaching. So that means this summer, I am spoiling you with so many episodes all about coaching, all about the business side of coaching, entrepreneurship. So make sure you are subscribed to the Life Coaching Secrets podcast, so that way you get notified whenever a new episode is released. And I am sharing things about topics I've never really delved into before, and I am so excited about it. And thank you to those of you that have left the reviews on the podcast. I just feel so appreciative that you leave those reviews, and I'm so glad that you've been enjoying the show. All right, so let's get into this. I want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that I see some coaches make when they are building their business, and it's a mistake that often looks really reasonable at first. A lot of coaches assume that if they want to make more money, they need more clients, they need more sessions, they need more people. So they end up building a business around volume. And in order to do this, they charge low prices, they fill up their calendars, they spend years trying to serve as many people as possible. But what if that entire approach is backwards? Because the reality is there are two different ways of building a coaching business. One is a high volume business where success depends on serving more and more clients. But the other is a high value business where your success depends on creating extraordinary transformation for a smaller number of people. Now, both of these business models can generate income. They both can create impact, but they create very different lifestyles for you, the coach, the boss. Very different levels of freedom and very different experiences for both you and your client. So I'm going to explore with you the difference between these two approaches. I'm going to share why some coaches just default to cheap pricing, some of the hidden costs of having that more high volume model, and why a more premium coaching business model is often misunderstood. And I'm also going to share why having a more high value premium business will actually lead to better client results and more freedom for you. So if you've ever wondered whether there is a better way to build a coaching practice than just by working harder and taking on more clients, then this episode is going to be perfect for you. Now, I want to say, of course, this conversation is not just about money. If money were the only goal, there are plenty of careers and business models outside of coaching that could potentially provide that. But most people become coaches because they genuinely want to help others and create meaningful transformation and also do work that feels purposeful. The reason in this episode we're discussing business models is because your business structure affects your ability to do that work well. When you're financially stressed or overbooked and exhausted, constantly chasing your next client, it's harder to show up at your best. A sustainable business allows you to serve people from a place of abundance rather than a place of survival. So the goal of all of this is not just to simply earn more, it's to create a coaching practice that allows you to make a greater impact, really enjoy your life, and continue doing this work for years to come. All right, so let's first talk about what is a high volume coaching business. I sometimes also refer to this as a more traditional coaching business because it's what a lot of more old school coaching programs will teach you. Unfortunately, most of them today still teach you this model alone. It has become very outdated. A high volume coaching business is built around serving a larger number of clients at low prices. And the primary way that this business grows is by continually increasing the number of sessions and clients that you serve. So your income is tied to volume. If you want to make more money, then the solution is to work with more people. A lot of new coaches accidentally create this type of model for themselves because they feel more comfortable charging a lower price and they think it's easier to justify. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with having a high volume business. In fact, a lot of successful businesses operate this exact way. But the challenge is that coaching is an energy intensive service, right? Every client requires your emotional presence, preparation, communication, and mental bandwidth. And as the number of clients increases, the complexity also increases. So eventually, some coaches discover that they build a demanding job for themselves rather than a business that creates freedom. Now, I learned this the hard way. When I was really early on in my coaching business, I just started to take on more and more clients. I remember there was one point where I think I had like 8 clients in one day doing 1-hour sessions, and it was back to back to back to back to back. I would start my day, I would get on the phone, and before I knew it, the sun was setting and I was completely drained. And it didn't make sense to me because I was doing work that I knew I wanted to do and it was fulfilling. But it was just the way I structured that work that wasn't ideal. And it wasn't giving me the lifestyle that I wanted also. So the danger with a high volume business is that you can trap yourself in a cycle where every additional dollar requires additional hours. More clients mean more sessions mean less flexibility. And when you have less flexibility, that's what leads to burnout and less energy for things that make a coaching business grow in the first place, such as marketing. So what is a high value coaching business? A high value coaching business, I often refer to this as a premium business model. This is built around creating a transformational experience for a smaller number of clients. So rather than focusing on how many people you can serve, the focus shifts to the depth of the result being delivered. I'll say that again. The focus shifts to the depth of the result being delivered. In this type of model, coaches charge more because the coaching experience that they're providing is more comprehensive, it's more intentional, and it's more outcome focused. So your revenue comes from delivering an extraordinary amount of value rather than by just increasing your client volume. Now, a high value coach is not simply charging more for the same thing as a high volume coach. Okay, a high value coach first of all, they've learned proven coaching methods. They also have an expertise in the industry, meaning they are having more of a niche area in which they solve a specific problem for a specific kind of person. Instead of selling hours of coaching, they are selling the transformation that their coaching will deliver. So the conversation with potential clients shifts from, here's how many sessions you get, and instead the conversation is more, here's the result that the coaching will help you achieve. Here's the type of results and outcome the coaching will allow you to achieve. So the value of it is more about the outcome, not just about the amount of time that you're spending with your clients. Now, one of the greatest benefits of a high value and premium business is that it creates space. One of my favorite words, space. I love having space. You have space to give your clients a world-class experience. You have space to continue learning and growing as a coach. Rather than having dozens of clients that you're juggling at once, a high-value coach works deeply with a smaller group of people, and often they create better results as a consequence. The goal is not simply to earn more money by doing this. It's to create a business that gives you fulfillment and freedom all at the same time. So let's talk about why so many coaches default to cheap pricing. One of the biggest reasons that coaches do this is because they underestimate the value of their transformation, and they overestimate the importance of experience. So a lot of coaches will think, well, who am I to charge that amount? And they might compare themselves to other coaches, and they assume that you have to earn the right to charge a premium someday in the future. You think you have to earn that right. And as a result, They price based on their own insecurities rather than the value being created for the client. I want to say that again as well. As a result of this, coaches price based on their own insecurities rather than the value being created for the client. And the irony of this is that clients are not buying your years of experience. What they are buying is the possibility of a meaningful result and the effectiveness of your coaching tools to get them there. So if you can help someone overcome a challenge that has been costing them time, costing them money, costing them fulfillment, the value of that transformation often far exceeds what many coaches initially charge. And another reason coaches default to cheaper pricing is because they think it's just safer to do. Charging $100 for a session probably feels less risky than charging $5,000 for a coaching package. So a lower price reduces the fear of rejection because it creates this illusion that more people will just say yes. Now, unfortunately, it often creates a different problem because instead of learning how to communicate your value, the coach attempts to compensate with volume. So they'll tell themselves they need more leads, they need more clients, when the real challenge is they need to develop the confidence in the value that they provide. And many coaches build an entire business around avoiding the discomfort of premium pricing, only to discover later that they have created a business that requires more work for more clients, and it gives them far less freedom than they originally wanted. Now, what is the real cost of having a high volume business? Well, it makes it so much harder to take time off. A lot of coaches dream of having more freedom when they start a business, but they accidentally build a business model where they're chained to their calendar. So their business starts controlling them instead of helping them create a life they want. But I think the biggest cost of having a high volume business is burnout, right? When you're serving too many people, have you ever heard of the phrase compassion fatigue? It creeps in and it takes away your ability to enjoy your life because all the sessions start blurring together. You might be making some money, but you're no longer feeling excited about the work. So a high volume business takes away the freedom, but it also takes away the enjoyment that you'll get from actually helping your clients. And I believe a business can be sustainable, not just financially, but also emotionally and energetically. I'm all about that. So what are the benefits of having a high value coaching business? One of the greatest benefits of having a more premium, high value business is that it leads to better client results. Like at the end of the day, this is about your clients having better results. Now, when you're a coach working with a smaller number of clients, you as the coach, you have more mental bandwidth, you have more presence, you have more energy available to each person that you're serving. Instead of feeling like that's just another appointment on your calendar, your clients actually feel seen and supported and cared for. And by you giving them this deeper level of attention, it translates into stronger breakthroughs and much more meaningful transformations. Now, interestingly, premium clients also show up differently. When someone makes a significant investment in themselves, they're often way more committed to following through. It's like that phrase, people that pay attention. So they're more likely to implement what you actually coach them on and what insights they're coming up with in the sessions. They take way more ownership of their growth. And as a result of this, the coach is not needing to spend as much time trying to push their clients to do the work because their clients are showing up way more coachable and eager to do the work. So both parties are more invested in the outcome, and it really creates the optimal coaching partnership. And a high value business creates something that many coaches want, which is freedom, right? Freedom to take vacation without your entire income disappearing, the freedom to actually spend more time with your family, the freedom to pursue hobbies, travel, exercise, or even just enjoy a slower pace of life. And once I finally understood this after like my first few years in coaching and I just tapped into this premium business model, it was like instant. I noticed the difference. I was like, oh, I don't have to be chasing clients all the time. I can work with just a dozen or so clients a year. I think like for many years, I had maybe around 20 clients in the year, 15 or 20 clients. And I would sleep in I still do this, sleep in every day, go on several vacations a year, exercise and go to the gym, stay in shape, have the time to cook and prepare healthy meals, engage in other hobbies. It's just, a lot of my friends actually tease me. They say, Frank, do you even work? And I'm like, yes, I actually do work. But every time I am working with students and clients, it's so meaningful. I'm not constantly burning myself out by doing it around the clock. It's very meaningful, and there's space I have outside of coaching to enjoy other parts of life and enjoy the freedom. If like freedom's always been my number one value, and if freedom is your number one value, then you absolutely want to make sure that you are learning how to have a high value premium business model. So the result of this is that you can have a greater impact, and you can also have a better lifestyle, right? People don't become coaches because they're dreaming of a lot of people don't become coaches, I'll say, most people, because they want to just fill all hours of their day with client after client. A lot of people coach because they want to make a difference while creating a life that they genuinely enjoy. This is possible in the coaching industry more than any other industry. So you deserve to give yourself the opportunity to enjoy the freedom that this industry can actually allow. But you got to be willing to actually adopt this business model and make sure that you are learning it. And a high value business model is what makes it all possible. So I want to address a few myths that people often have around having a premium business model. One myth is that it's greedy to charge more, and that this is just trying to sell to rich people, and the idea like nobody's going to pay for premium coaching, $5,000, $10,000. It is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have, thinking that if you charge more, that you're suddenly becoming more selfish, greedy, or less caring about others. Because a lot of people get into coaching because you want to help people. So when you first consider premium pricing, you might feel uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable at first too. You might worry that if you charge more, are you starting to put the money ahead of the service? And in reality, the opposite is true. A coach who is undercharging, exhausted, and stressed about finances, and carrying too many clients, they are less effective than a coach who's well supported, energized, and able to give their full attention to the people they serve. Do I have to say it louder for the people in the back? So it's important to remember, when you charge more, it doesn't mean you care any less. In almost every profession, people understand that expertise and results and specialization have value. Now, another myth is that people think premium coaching is only for the rich people. And this is also not true, because the reality is people from all income levels invest significant amounts of money into things they believe will improve their lives. Some people, even if they're not the ultra wealthy, they finance really nice cars. Some people really value their health, so they invest in a personal trainer or higher quality food. Some people really put a high value on their home, so they're remodeling their homes and having really nice high quality furniture. Some people put a high value on their travel, so they will invest in more luxury vacations or maybe better airline seats. And there are plenty of other people that spend thousands of dollars on hobbies and other interests that they have every year. Again, this is not talking about ultra wealthy people. It's just about understanding that everyone has an area of their life where they prioritize value over cost. We all have an area or two of our life where we turn up that dial. So the deciding factor is rarely whether the money exists. The deciding factor is whether the person believes that the investment is worth it. So just like there are people out there that value fashion or technology or food or travel, there are people that value growth and education. Okay, they are people that may have even a modest income, but they want to make bold investments in themselves because they understand the cost of being stuck and stagnant in their life. They understand the value of growth. So when someone believes that a coaching program can help them solve a really meaningful problem in their life or create some kind of meaningful results, they're going to find ways to make that investment happen happily. So if you think like nobody's going to pay that or it's just for rich people, it is so not true. People invest thousands of dollars every day. All kinds of people invest thousands of dollars in different coaching programs, certifications, masterminds, and other forms of personal development. Okay, somebody paying a premium is not unusual. It's happening constantly. So the problem is rarely that a premium buyer does not exist. The problem is that many coaches haven't learned the messaging to put themselves out there and the steps to create a premium high value model in their business so that way those premium clients are attracted to them. That's what the problem is. It's not about whether those premium buyers exist, because I can assure you that they do. They absolutely do. And one of the things that makes Thriving Coach Academy so different is that we don't simply teach people how to coach. We don't simply teach people how to make a small amount in their business. We teach them how to build a premium business that's really designed around freedom and impact. And a lot of coach training programs, they focus so heavily on the coaching skills, but they leave students to kind of figure out all the different techniques for pricing and packaging and positioning and business strategy. So a lot of coaches that graduate from other programs, they may be certified, but they're still out there charging by the hour and competing on price, struggling to attract clients. So we wanted to solve that problem with our program. And that's why all of our students, as one of the coolest bonuses of our program, is they get the premium coaching formula. And this shows you exactly how to move away from that traditional low cost, high value model and into a business that's actually built around high value and meaningful transformation. Rather than teaching coaches how to sell individual sessions, we teach our coaches how to really package their coaching into a comprehensive coaching experience. We're going to show you exactly how to identify a meaningful problem to solve, create a really compelling coaching offer, communicate that clearly, and structure a program that will create amazing results for clients while also generating more freedom for you. Okay, this is the whole philosophy behind it. People are not buying coaching sessions, they are buying outcomes, right? When coaches actually can learn this and learn how to position their services around transformation rather than just the time they're giving, everything's going to change for you, right? Instead of teaching coaches how to just fill their calendar with low-cost sessions, we're going to show you how to create a business that allows you to make a significant impact with a smaller number of committed clients and giving you that freedom. Okay. So yes, it's so important you learn how to be a great coach, and we're absolutely going to make sure you're doing that, but it's only half the equation. You need to know how to really create the business in a way that's going to give you the life that you want to live and allow you to have the impact that you want to have as well. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a simple question. What kind of life are you trying to build? What kind of life are you wanting to build? I always think it's important to start with the ideal lifestyle first. What's the ideal lifestyle you want to have? Then you look at, okay, what's the business model that will help you create that lifestyle? Because with a coaching business, you can create a business that supports that life, but you can also create a coaching business that competes with that life. So many coaches focus on what they need to charge, how many clients they need, how much money they want to make, but they don't stop to actually think about what do they want their days to look like. So that's why I'm asking you this. How much freedom do you want? How much flexibility would you like? How much energy do you want left over for your family and other hobbies, your health, your relationships, and other things that matter most to you? Your whole life doesn't have to become your coaching business. I actually think that's really unhealthy to do. So the answer to those questions, that is what should influence the business model that you choose. Remember, there's no prize out there for being the busiest coach. There's no prize for having the most clients. There's no trophy for having the most packed calendar. The goal is not to create a business that consumes your life. It's to create a business that enhances your life and one that allows you to create extraordinary transformation for your clients while also having a meaningful, enjoyable life for yourself. So as you think about getting into coaching and building your practice, don't just ask, how can I get more clients? I want you to ask yourself, how can I create more value? Because when you really focus on creating that value, both your income and your impact tend to follow. All right, that's what I got in this episode on why some coaches make 10 times more than other coaches. And before we go, I'm going to leave you with an interview that we had with one of our coaches inside Thriving Coach Academy, where they share their story, their experience getting into coaching, and some of their tips for how you can be successful as well. So enjoy their story, and I will see you in the next episode.
My name is Laura Meredith, and I am a graduate of Thriving Coach Academy. Throughout my whole life, pretty much I've heard murmurs of like what coaching is, and when I've considered my career and what I wanted, I had heard from other people, or I've seen things about being a life coach or a career coach or just a coach in general. I always felt intrigued by it, but never felt like I could fully do it. And then the opportunity to work with a coach was given to me through my full-time corporate job. I went on this like self-discovery journey, starting with working with this coach to figure out what I wanted. And then all of a sudden, I had this light bulb moment when I was talking about my career with some friends at dinner that I should be a coach. All of a sudden, it just made sense that coaching was the path. Well, at that time in my life, I was really looking for my own individual purpose and like understanding of why I'm here and like what am I meant to do. I wanted a career that would enable me to live the life that I wanted and give me energy and fulfillment without taking away from all the wonderful things in my life. A career and a profession that allowed me to embrace who I was and just be the whole complete version of myself while feeling connected to the work that I was doing. Coaching is that for me. When I found Thriving Coach Academy in my frantic internet search, I was immediately drawn to it. I found TCA to have this really unique, approachable, and professional quality to it that had an element of play as well as seriousness. And it just felt like a very empowering program that I felt would set me up for success as a coach. I loved that TCA talked about needing to have the skills to be an amazing coach, as well as the professional, like business and marketing aspect of coaching that I didn't see in a lot of other programs. I was considering a lot of other programs. I attended a lot of webinars and talked to a lot of people. I had researched quite a few at that point, and I was actually pretty sold on IPEC, but I wanted to explore a little bit more just to do my due diligence. And then when I found TCA, I felt instantly called to explore that further. I knew I wanted to become a life coach, and I knew I wanted to do it with TCA. I have loved the support that I've gotten from the academy. I graduated feeling like a very skilled coach, and no matter where you are in your journey, if you feel like you've been coaching people your whole life, or you feel like it's something that you're ready to start exploring because it just feels like something that would work for you, you will be so set up for success as part of TCA and the academy. I never thought I could be an entrepreneur, and here I am, an entrepreneur. I'm running my own business. I do have multiple paying clients. I just really think my biggest win is just the connection to myself, and that's enabled me to connect with others too. I see myself with skills that I'll be able to carry with me forever. Another thing that I wish I would have done, but that I started doing a little bit into my journey, is documenting any thought that I had about coaching in my own journey and my growth. You do a lot of documentation in the program, being able to look back on my own growth and just like recording voice memos or sending little texts to yourself or whatever way you like to journal, to just think about your journey as a coach. When I think about Laura, the version of Laura who just started, looking back on her, I just feel this like pride in her and how much she committed and she had to this program and to herself. And she had no idea what she would be able to do and what she would be able to accomplish. So I think documenting that journey over time would be such a beautiful thing to like look back on and to see growth. Just documenting your journey will help you create ideas and content later. If you are considering the academy, there's a reason you're being drawn to it. Just do it. Like invest in yourself, bank on yourself, and you will not be disappointed by the amazing humans that you get to connect with, both who are a part of the academy and who are also leading the academy.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coach's secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.